Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem. Welcome everyone to the Week in Italian Startup, our weekly meeting between Nicolò and I, where we go through the main news of the Italian week in the startup ecosystem. So very interesting week last week. We've seen the biggest Series A in agri-tech investment in the European Union in the last 12 months. Very, very cool. Also, the European Union allocated about 10 billion for an umbrella fund, investing in a bunch of different funds for the happiness of Nicolò and myself, for sure. I hope something is gonna trickle, I don't know. And then for the people that are interested in buying an island in Venice with tokens, that's a weird news of the week, if you will. But I'm curious to see what do you think about it? It was a very different week in a way. What do you think?
Well, yes. I found out about these different news and I couldn't resist telling my audience about them. I believe they're still interesting. So maybe not exactly startup related, but still they're close enough to our work to be mentioned in the newsletter. And I think it's quite amusing if we're talking about Venice, for example, that there's someone who's bidding on an island and their intention is actually to put the island on the blockchain. So that's
the world we live in. That's the world.
If you think blockchain is something, metaverse and cyberpunks, CryptoPunks and apes, well, no, not really.
I agree.
Coming.
Super interesting, for sure. All right, let's get going. Let's talk about the biggest round of last week, which is Planet Farm, where the vertical farming startup, basically they gained fame in the past years because they've been moving extremely fast. They managed to raise 30 million from a bunch of different investors. And they're planning a very, very steep scaling round for increasing operation and moving essentially across Europe. So this is the biggest Series A of the past 12 months in agri-tech. And among the big investor is Red Circle Investment from Renzo Rosso, the founder of Diesel, the fashion brand. And then the holding company, Nuova Energia from Loro Piana, another a very important player in the Italian market.
The pun. Fully vertical integrated company, because if you up to now, if we talk about vertical farming, most of the time we talked about either infrastructure offering, so people who set up or who research and set up infrastructure for vertical farming, or service providers for vertical farming. Planet Farm is fully integrated. They have their own retail brands, so they produce it, they distribute it, they have got it in a few hundred supermarkets. So people are buying Planet Farm's vegetables with their own label on it. So this is an interesting play.
Yeah.
From production to consumers.
Yeah.
Without any intermediary.
Yeah.
In between.
Even production, they were saying how from the cutting of the plant to the envelope is about 60 seconds. So yeah, imagine how efficient and how immediate this is. Very interesting.
That's really fresh.
Very cool
And
deal.
I love the website,
Very innovative, a very good show of product, very good show of technology. Yeah, the guys definitely know what they're doing. So excited for them for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, another very surprising deal, 1000 Farmacies, a pharmacy marketplace, managed to raise $15 million, led by P101, one of the big venture capital firm in Italy, and then a few healthcare investors, including HBM Healthcare, which is basically a Swiss public listed healthcare investment holding. So that's also like a very, very interesting movement in the market. What's really surprising is that this company was launched in 2020. So this company is not young, more than young, and they're there like basically harnessing the power of private capital and scaling like an amazing e-commerce that definitely, you know, helped people through the pandemic. So that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yep. And this is the second round they raised so far, because they raised another $1.7 million last year. So they're moving like missiles. Congratulations to them. And I believe the interesting bit of their business is that they're not in simple e-pharmacy, they're a marketplace for the e-pharmacies. So a further step ahead, rather than being just a pharmacy with an online shop. They are aggregating, they promise quick distribution. So very, very good execution.
Yeah. One of the big seller is a cholesterol pill, just in case we need to know. Top seller. So, but yeah, amazing round, and definitely kudos to the guys. Awesome job. Awesome job.
The pharmacy market is quite hot. Last year there were at least a couple of acquisitions of big acquisitions in the e-pharmacies market. So, and this round probably is a signal that this year will be double down.
Interesting, very interesting. All right, GenomeUp, startup developing AI-powered genetic disease analysis tool, raising 1.2 million. These guys are selling the technology called GenomeUp, which essentially helps understanding basically genomics data through the use of AI algorithms in order to give like the quickest genetic assessments essentially. And I mean, also this is like a product play essentially. It's a solution play for the healthcare. The healthcare is basically craving for the application of AI to everything data that they can produce. And I didn't know this word omics in general, which stands for genomics and a bunch of other different verticals, including genomics, but not only. So for the medical people out there, very interesting. So it's big data for medical, verticals essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not much to add here. So they went through at least one accelerator program. So they've been around for a few years. So very good that they managed to raise this round. It is interesting that among the investors there are both, let's say, VCs and also social impact VCs.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a double angle here. So not just the capital, but also the effects on society are probably quite strong.
Good point. And here's a player that we've seen, ALIcrowd, and also we've been seeing it's very active in a bunch of different impact investing sort of play. They invested in Rice House. They invested in some other also companies that are promoting everything that is impactful investment. So yeah, very, very interesting for sure. Awesome. Let's go to Serenis. This is a very great story. So the story of Serenis is that it was funded from one of probably the most successful, I would say, female entrepreneur in Italy. So that has been I mean, it's an extremely interesting story. I was reading. So they're the same founder of ProntoPro. Silvia Wang is the one essentially leading the show, and just a very interesting story. I mean, Silvia's been basically working in some of the best internet companies, Rocket Internet, and she's been approaching the Asian markets. And then she co-founded ProntoPro, and now she's leading anything Serenis for providing such psychological help to people. So very, very cool.
Yeah, and that's another very hot market actually. These type of services are exploding as people are understanding how to look for support online. So very excellent play with excellent timing. 1.1 million round as a first fundraise, not too bad. So I expect to see more coming from this team not so far in the future. So very, very good, and as you said, very happy for Silvia to see her again launching a new startup. Awesome. And Exor is among the investors, Exor Seeds, yeah. So quite a heavyweight.
Yeah, we've seen Exor Seed being very active last year. They are really keeping up the pace for sure. So that's they want to become a big player in the seed market, and yeah, heavyweight, definitely like some very good interaction and possibilities to actually grow the business and the rounds beyond the seed round. So definitely a very strategic investor to have. All right, let's go back to Primo Venture portfolio. Okay, so Punchlab, yeah, let's talk about Punchlab. Our friend Valerio raised almost $1,840,000 from, of course, Primo Ventures, Sport Horizon Holding, LVenture Group, and ALIcrowd. So very, very diverse the group of investors in a way, including what we talked before, which is the Azimuth LTIF ALIcrowd fund, which yeah, has been again like a very active player. Very interesting. Give us some insight, Nick. Some back scene. Don't tell me that you don't know.
I don't know. What can I say? Well, the startup is showing good traction. So the interesting bit is that a lot of consumers are from abroad. Punchlab has developed a mobile app for combat sports, so they allow you to keep track and train as you do, I don't know, from kickbox to box to fitbox to whatever. And there are some countries where these sports are very hot, like in the US. And this round will help the founders consolidate the metrics and prepare for growth. So that's the hope.
Awesome. And yeah, the user has been like definitely growing from the last time I checked. So it's 350,000 users in 70 countries, and most of the revenues from abroad. Definitely, this is a super cool play, because this is the kind of product that people beside Italy, they would go crazy, but they're Italian still. So it's very interesting, very international, and Valerio is very, very well prepared on what is going on in the market. I mean, I think my feeling is that he's playing with some big heavyweights outside Italy. So it's definitely that's a bit challenging, but yeah, very cool.
Well, let's say that this type of consumer apps, so Italians are not, we don't have a great history of being able to put on the market this type of consumer apps. So there is not much track record or experience for doing that here. And if you take a look at the website, the company, the communication, very little of Italian that emerges from what they're doing.
I agree.
Because most of the consumers, most of the users are not local. They're from abroad. So we'll see. That will be a very interesting play to create let's say, a worldwide known brand for this type of app.
Yeah, no, the feel you get from the way the guys designed it is really like a very like scalable international. This guy can be from anywhere, and it's really product focused and product centric for sure. Interesting. All right, let's go to the big news. What is happening in Europe? I mean, they're pouring money into tech in different ways. So since France took the lead on the presidency of the European Union, they just immediately decided to allocate about 10 billion euros in European venture capital funds. both directly through funds of funds and in some of the major geographies, including Italy, Spain, Luxembourg, Portugal, and the Nordic countries, Sweden and Finland. So very interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, the basic idea behind all of this seems to be that we don't have mega funds, late stage funds in Europe. Most of the big name investors are from abroad, really abroad, like US and China, basically. Yeah. So the goal of this project is to create 10 to 20 champions that can invest at least 100 million in a startup. At the European level. Most of the European countries have signed this project. Even though up to now, from my research, only Germany, France, the EIB, and I believe Greece committed to investing into this instrument. There are 3.5 billion euros already committed.
Interesting.
The goal is to get to 10. So I'm looking forward to see how much money we will commit as a country, Italy. CDP, I expect CDP to be the vehicle that will somehow contribute to the fund. So we'll see.
It fits really on what we were discussing a few episodes before, where basically we are perceiving that Europe is really lacking these like a mid-market sort of VC funds, and this is really kind of trying to fill that void where seed and Series A is kind of established. We have accelerator, we have like earlier funds, and when it comes to bigger round, the big heavyweights from the US and Asia are kicking in and essentially like jumping on Europe. What is missing is how to drag the people from the beginning funds up to late stage sort of status. So yeah, good move on the part of Europe for sure.
The question I have is who's going to apply for this type of funds? No, well, I don't know. Andreessen Horowitz, Horowitz Europe, and apply saying, "Hey, we know how to manage 300 million euros in the fund, 400 million or whatever." Because I don't see that many VCs in Europe that have this type of experience. Private equity for sure, of course, and there are multi-funds operators that come from, for example, hedge funds.
Yeah, in
but
a way.
Pure play VCs.
I mean, how many VCs can really graduate for a later stage fund, or how many private equity funds can sort of pivot a little bit to create a parallel to make like late stage VC happening? So that's the question.
That's the good question. Even though I expect hedge funds to be better positioned because they probably have more speed and more aptitude to manage a diversity of assets. Let's say so.
Interesting.
And that will be the first time that you see a multi-fund, hedge fund, whatever, doing different type.
Yeah, we've
global comes from hedge funds.
Exactly, like those plays.
The same.
Exactly, where we have some public equity sort of deal on parallel. We have some VC deals, and it's a hybrid model. Yeah, which they're becoming like not too popular, but you can see them for sure. Very interesting.
So we'll see. I'm curious. I'm looking forward to see the teams that will be able to apply and receive this kind of money. Because on the other hand, you will probably not just invest out of the money that Europe will provide you. You have to go to fundraise on the markets. I mean, the private investors know what they're doing. Just because you have 500 millions from Europe, are they going to give you 500 million more? I mean, you've never managed that amount of money. So we'll see. I'm very happy for the instrument. I'm looking forward to see who's gonna manage that money. We'll
awesome. So let's go to your speaking engagement and see how was it in terms of Ernst Young Venture Capital Barometer for Italy. So capturing some interesting data, and they published officially all the reports so people can easily access to it. Yeah, this is something we discussed already, like a big jump between 2020 and 2021, kind of doubling up, given the level. Very, very, solid growth. Some interesting verticals: food tech, fintech, and energy and recycling. Definitely like leading the way for sure. Any insight, Nick, that you had during any realization?
Apart from the good news that the ecosystem is growing, some of the interesting bit is that there are international investors who are actually starting to look at Italy also for bigger tickets, and this trend that started last year continued in 2020, continued in 2021. Some Italian companies are moving abroad and investing abroad to grow, which I believe is very good news. My contribution to the barometer was actually about exits, and in terms of exits, we are lagging a little bit behind. There were a few notable IPOs in Italy, or regarding Italian companies, a couple in life science. GenomeUp was one on the Nasdaq. We talked about it. Seco was another interesting IPO on the Borsa Italiana, a very good one. I believe we talked about it as well.
Yeah.
But apart from these few major liquidity events, a lot of small scale M&A and some smaller IPOs. So we have a long way to go before having the big numbers that Europe is seeing right now.
Interesting. Yeah, one thing I want to point out is also your fundraising tracker, your side project. You gave birth to this analytical tool, so I know how you think, and that's awesome. But it's very interesting actually to compare 2020 up to 2021, the current status of fundraising. So awesome idea. And we are on a run for even bigger projection than last year. So it's very early to say, of course, but yeah, I think it's a great way to track what is happening.
Yeah, I was thinking about it actually. Thank you to Alessio Bergerina for pointing me to the idea of having this chart. Since I'm collecting the data, why not use it for this as well? I'm very curious about how it will go, how it will proceed going forward. Since we have a few outliers here. The Orbis raised a 100 million convertible at the end of last year, and I'm adding it here because my methodology will be just if I spoke about the deal in a given month, then I will add the deal in that given month. Which is not probably very consistent now. It will probably become consistent going forward. So don't be too precise regarding the specific volume in a specific month. But
right.
Let's see. Let's take a look at the aggregate volumes and see where they go, where they proceed.
Beautiful. So let's end up with the fun note, the tokenization of an island on the Venice lagoon. That's so interesting. So essentially everything starts from this company, Elviria, which provides services for tokenization of different kind of asset. I was researching a bit. So they do tokenization of real estate, alternative funds, very, very different asset classes actually. So if we see the website, debt, commodities, precious metals, some form of equity strategy. So they do all of that. Now they are after an island that, so the story goes, was initially the target of a revamp from an Italian entrepreneur. The company then failed, and now essentially they're trying to sell the island. And I believe the initial bid is 2.2 million euros. So they will tokenize this kind of instrument, build some luxury resort, and then invent a new way to do like luxury real estate essentially.
Yeah, exactly. I believe there was no need for a tokenization in this case, but I find it amusing that they're doing it. So from a marketing point of view, it's the perfect sale.
Yeah.
If you read the article, the proposal is that, I mean, the vehicle will be a UK-based SPV, special purpose vehicle, all boring and traditional. But if you want, instead of purchasing a share of the vehicle, you can purchase a token on your platform of choice in the type of token that you want.
Why
you
not?
Want it fungible? Please go for it. You want it fungible? Please go for it. No problem. So
just give us the money. Basically, just give us the money, and then we give you everything you want. Exactly.
So
that's awesome.
That was quite. I thought that was quite amusing.
Yeah.
But still, the play is quite easy. You know, you are purchasing the island, you're setting up some kind of real estate, luxury resort or whatever. That resort will create a cash flow, and the owners of the SPV will receive the cash back. So that's the basic play is easy. The marketing play on the tokenization is perfect. So I'm looking forward to see what's going on. I mean, the only missing point is that they could have said we are setting up a DAO to manage the project. That would have been even better.
Awesome. But it's getting there. I mean, real estate, maybe that's the future of real estate. You know, you participate, you buy a small token instead of needing to participate through, you know, big investment through wealth managers that they have these funds doing, commercial revamping project. That's a way where a retailer can really participate. So I don't know. Let's keep an eye on this, Nick. If the price goes down, maybe we can think of placing a bet or something.
I really want to take a look at the real estate project before investing. You know, I'm still an old school guy. Show me the fundamentals.
I agree.
Then I'll decide. Even doing the setup, I don't know, a non-fungible token of items in the resort. That would be even more amusing. I mean, you can purchase a share in SPV or a non-fungible token related to a lamp in the main saloon.
Yeah. There you go. Why not?
Why not? Is that yours? Is that yours? So that's lovely. I'm really looking forward to seeing